the separation. That is the first one that I want to talk about, is the separation. And she was talking, that's why I love studying artists, because they are so connected to their source of inspiration, even, and as she was talking in their interview, even before she knew it, that she was spiritual, she probably already knew that she was spiritual because she was channeling songs and stuff like that. So artistry is connection to source. And as I was thinking about this, I was like, I have so many things that come through to me at all times. I have inspiration, I have ideas for videos, I have this, I have that. I'm such a terrible, still, I'm going to show you a terrible drawer of concepts, but I see things visually. So I want to learn how, because it helps me so much to see concepts visually when other people do it. So I want to share those more. But like, what am I doing instead? Like checking my Instagram, right? So the separation of, and this is especially for us business owners, this is so, so important. And ultimately, I hope we get to the point, or maybe we can already be there, where David Guillaume says like 1 to 2 minutes of spiritual work a day should be enough, you know? But here, yet we are hanging in there and like figuring out what we should be doing when all we should be doing all the time is creating. Like creativity is what your undefined sacral has energy for. I have to write that down. I'm just channeling right now. I'm with you guys. Uh, creativity. So, creativity is what your sacral always has energy for. And when it doesn't, that means we are hanging in a personal story that makes us feel not connected, not empowered, and not powerful. And a big reason for that, and I found that so often in myself as well, is especially now with AI. And I made a post about this the other day as well. Like when I listen to Madonna, for example, or anyone that inspires me, David Guillaume, any other teacher, anyone who's channeling light and doing their work authentically, being an authentic person so that the light can come through, my light gets ignited. That is what you are needed for too as a projector, right? Or any, not even just a projector, but any human. But as a projector, we can channel so much light through our undefined sacral that we first have to learn how to handle it ourselves. But AI can't do that. And so AI is not inspiring. Inspiration means, hold on, I need to just close my window. Inspiration means that somebody else's light is igniting your light. And AI can't do that. AI can ask questions. David Guillaume has his own AI coaching thing coming out. All these things are really valuable. You can talk things through with AI or get ideas for content, but AI is not going to ignite your light. Because why? Because it doesn't have its own light. It's a data resource. And the biggest reason why projectors are hanging in there, not creating, not having energy for their creations, is because they're doubting if they're needed. Who here has experienced that before? I know I've hung in there so many times. And so this is in the Kabbalah tree of life. This is the very bottom sphera, they call it, the bottom sphere, Malchut, the physical realm. Everything in the manifestation realm, everything that you can touch, see, smell, is that realm. So in that realm, when a projector doesn't believe that their light is needed, and who's here has heard the expression before that we're meant to be a lighthouse, right? Lighthouse. We're meant to channel light so that others can ignite their light on us. It's the whole candle situation. One candle has a light on, we can ignite other candles, right? And so every projector has to understand on the deepest level that their contribution is needed, because then other people who get touched by you, whether that's whatever work you do, it doesn't matter. You could be a waitress. You could be doing this. You could be doing that. You could be the most important spiritual speaker. It doesn't matter. But the people who you touch get ignited by your light. And that only happens when you know how to turn your own light on. You have to know where that inner switch is. And that inner switch comes from doing our own work, from saying no to instant gratification, saying no to being reactive, overcoming our nature, our human, our ego nature, overcoming our desire to receive for selfishness, just as Madonna was talking about in the interview, just thinking about herself, you know? And some people, including myself, especially as only child, we are very good at, in a 1-3 in my tropical, I'm very good at thinking about myself, right? So some people are better at thinking about others and less about themselves. But then that's another expression of only thinking about yourself, because you do that to gain something, right? So the balance here is to realize that your inner work ignites your light. And the more light you ignite, the more you grow your vessel, the bigger you can shine. And then you can ignite more lights in the process. That's the whole idea. And that is why you need it. And when you realize that, you can put this thing aside. You can put this thing aside and say, I'm here to create. Creator. Okay. Creator is not called creator for no reason, right? We are all mini creators, and what we are doing is sulking. We're sulking in our pity puddles. I'm on one today. Can you tell? Because I love you. We're so, and I do this. This is why I deserve the right, I reserve the right to speak about this, because sulking in our own pity puddles keeps us from creating, and the undefined sacral wants to just channel through creation. So if we're not creating, we are not needed. That's the sad thing about it, you know? So we need to be creating, and we need to be creating through our inner work, and we need to ask the creator, hey, creator, if I'm also a creator, what do you want me to create today? What light do you want me to channel today? And that was a harder concept for me to understand for a minute, until I spoke about this with my Kabbalah teacher. And he was like, light? I was like, I don't understand. What does it actually mean to reveal light? Like, who here finds that concept also a little bit questionable? Like, what does that mean practically, right? And he's like, sometimes it's very obvious. Like, sometimes it means you bring the kids to school. Sometimes it means you make breakfast. You know, it's not all, it doesn't have to always be. And that is something that I'm being drawn back onto the carpet for as well, to stay grounded. Being spiritual doesn't always mean we do something outrageously extraordinary. Being spiritual means that we do whatever we have to do in our life right now with the right consciousness. And feeding my kids is revealing light. Taking a shower, like that's the light that wants to be revealed in the moment. Then there are the moments where I sit down at my desk and I have the choice. Do I now create something from a should? Or do I pause? Because should is reactive behavior, right? We're going for instant gratification, desire for to receive for the self alone. Or do I sit down? I had a moment just earlier. I was like, I'm doing things. I'm busy. I have a lot of energy today. I have a few nights of getting great sleep. I'm on it. I don't even do caffeine anymore, except a tiny bit of chocolate in my morning shake. But I've just been bursting with energy. And then I sit down here. It's like, oh, and then the shoulds want to come back in. And then I have to wait. This feels weird. This doesn't feel like I want to feel right now. Okay, okay. I'm not going to do anything until the creator tells me what to do. And that is the hardest thing for projectors because the generators can keep going. They can use the shoulds. They can use healthy shoulds because they have a pool full energy that they can use however they want. We projectors, we have to stop, drop, and roll. What is that song called? We have to stop, drop, and listen. Ask the creator. Okay, I was about to operate from a should, creator. No, 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 no. I caught myself. What do you want me to do right now? And that's why it's so important that we do all of our inner work, because whenever we overcome a trigger or a difficult moment and we don't react and we don't fall back into old habits that are destructive or don't bring us success or that make us feel bitter, we open up the phone line. We open up the spiritual connection to being able to even listen. Because so many people that are in my world, they say, sorry, this all sounds great, but I can't even listen. I don't know what the creator is saying. I don't know how to distinguish that. I don't know how to hear that. And that is the simple order of things. Stop, drop, and listen and do your inner work and create. So that's the end of the channeling for now. I'm going I'm going to look what you guys are saying. I would love to hear how this resonates before wait, you guys have been so active while I was in there. What has happened? Okay, great. Okay, let me see.